Electricity, man's most versatile source of power. And now man is using a powerful new source of electric power, the atom.
What if we got 1% better every day? What if we got 1% healthier? What if we got 1% smarter? What if our relationships got 1% stronger? Now what if we did that for a month, 6 months, or 6 years? That's how tiny changes lead to remarkable results. That's how simple habits turn atomic. I recently read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it made me totally rethink not only my daily habits, but the goals I'm using those habits to achieve. Before reading this, I had set goals for myself that didn't really do anything, and lacked any actionable steps I could take to make them a reality. And most of you probably feel similar to me. We tend to set goals for ourselves that just highlight our desired outcome, like get this grade in school or make this amount of money. But for what? They don't get us any closer to actually achieving them. Clear argues that we should stop focusing on our goals, and instead focus on the systems behind them. An analogy he used is that it's every football team's goal to win a championship. But at the end of the season, only one team is crowned champion. Like the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams probably had the same goals coming into last season. So clearly it's not the goal itself that drives their success. The team's success depends a lot more on how they conduct practice every day and how they recruit players and coaches. The goal of every game is to score the most points, but it would be absurd to stare at the scoreboard the entire time. My goals now look something like this. Instead of a goal like get A's in school, my daily habits are to finish my homework right when I arrive home, as well as study for half an hour every night. And instead of a goal like get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I know I'm still working on it, my daily habits are to work on videos for 1 to 2 hours a night so I can achieve my sub goal of putting out 1 or 2 quality pieces of content every single month. If I didn't make daily habits to achieve my goals, they would be doing nothing for me. My YouTube channel wouldn't be growing, and my grades wouldn't be improving on their own. So we've identified where our goals are, and maybe thought of some simple daily habits to achieve those goals. But how do we stick to them, time and time again, to the point where they become automatic? The answer is, you have to make it obvious. In order to break bad habits and create long-lasting good habits, we must first be aware of our existing habits, the guilty pleasures and bad decisions we fall into without even knowing it. The scrolling social media in the morning, the going to Starbucks before work, or the late night snacking before bed. Clear suggests that we use a habit scorecard to grade our existing habits and decide whether or not they're worth repeating. Here's how it works. Go through each action in your routine and decide whether it's a good habit, bad habit, or neutral habit. Your morning routine might look something like this. Wake up, neutral habit. Snooze alarm, bad habit. Eat breakfast, good habit. Brush teeth, good habit. Remember, different habits might be better or worse for different people, depending on their goals. Eating a high-calorie breakfast might be a bad habit for someone trying to lose weight, but a good habit for someone trying to gain muscle. It all depends on the goals behind it. If you're unsure of whether a habit is good or bad, ask yourself the simple question. Is this habit casting a vote for a person I want to be, or is it casting a vote for a person I don't want to be? Use this question as a guide. It will help you tremendously. We're now aware of what our current habits are, and maybe even have an idea of some new habits we'd like to implement. But how do we remember to stick to them? That's where our environment comes in. We go about life thinking that we're in control of our decisions. We decided to eat that cookie because we wanted to eat that cookie. We decided to buy that t-shirt because we wanted to buy that t-shirt. However, whether aware of it or not, our day-to-day decisions have a lot more to do with our environment than our own free will. There's a reason that 45% of Coca-Cola sales come from end-of-the-aisle racks where they're easily noticed. Self-control is a myth. If you want to stop eating junk food, don't bring it in the house. If you want to eat more fruit, buy a fruit bowl and put it somewhere noticeable. The people with the best self-control have to use it the least. Design your environment so that bad habits are invisible and good habits are right in front of you. Bad habits are usually a lot more fun than good ones. Like I would much rather eat a candy bar than eat a salad. Sure, the salad is better for me, but the candy bar is sweet and delicious. Maybe there's some chocolate, some caramel, some of that gooey marshmallow stuff, whereas the salad is just a bland mix of vegetables that all taste the same. The candy bar is more attractive than the salad, despite the health benefits. Clear suggests that we shouldn't back away from some of our bad habits, but instead, we should use them to help us build good habits, with a strategy he calls temptation bundling. Temptation bundling works like this. Say you want to get into shape, but you're also addicted to watching Netflix. You could not watch Netflix and just work out, or you could pair the two together. Suddenly, you're not just watching Netflix or just working out. You're watching Netflix while working out. Or you're pairing something you want to do with something you need to do. After a while, your brain will start to look forward to workouts, because that means you get to watch Netflix. Suddenly, the idea of working out becomes very attractive. This strategy even applies to work, where you need to focus intently, and can have something else going on in the background. Make a deal with yourself that you'll only do the fun thing once you finish your work, or using the thing you want to do as a reward for doing the thing you need to do. This makes doing your work attractive because it leads to something fun. We have to please the monkeys in our brain if we want to get any meaningful work done. If you ignore them for too long, they will surely retaliate. So we've made the good habits attractive using temptation bundling. But how do we drop the bad habits? As you may have guessed, we have to make them unattractive. Everyone has an underlying desire that explains why they do the things they do. Like no one smokes because they enjoy the idea of tar building up in their lungs. No, people smoke because it gives them a sense of control and temporarily relieves their anxiety. So therefore, if we want to break the bad habit of smoking, we have to be brutally honest with ourselves and make it clear that actually no, smoking doesn't calm your nerves and give you a sense of control. All it does is destroy your nerves and makes you lose control. This works for almost any bad habit you may have. Spend too much time scrolling social media? Tell yourself that social media is taking time away from the things you want to be doing and getting you nowhere in life. Consistently eating unhealthy? Tell yourself that your unhealthy eating is decreasing your lifespan, overall health, and making you feel a way you don't want to feel. When you phrase them this way, the idea of your bad habits don't seem as attractive, which should make them less tempting to do. Every time you're about to eat another cookie, or light a cigarette, or open Instagram, remind yourself of the ugly truth of your actions. While seemingly harmless now, what will this habit do to me long term when multiplied by time? Humans are naturally drawn to choices that require the lowest amount of energy. Clear calls this the law of least effort. And this law actually makes a lot of sense for our lives. We wake up with a limited amount of energy, spend it throughout our day, sleep to replenish it, and then do it all again the next day. Energy is a finite resource. We only get so much each day, and we need to keep this in mind when building our habits. We can't run away from the law of least effort. It's ingrained in our human nature, but we can use it to our advantage. If we want to stick to good habits, we have to make them so easy that we can't resist doing them. To do this, Clear suggests a strategy called the 2-minute rule, which goes as follows. When you first start a habit, it should take you less than 2 minutes to complete. With this, our ambitious habits become more manageable. Reading 30 pages turns into reading just 1 page. Writing a journal entry turns into writing just 1 line. And doing 100 push-ups turns into doing just 1. By making these habits so easy at the beginning, they seem almost hard not to do. Anyone can read 1 page, or write 1 line, or do 1 push-up. We can increase the time and reps of these habits later, but for now, just get the ball rolling. As Clear puts it, you have to standardize before you optimize. So we made the good habits easy using the 2-minute rule, but how do we make the bad habits difficult, or even better, nearly impossible? The solution is to use a commitment device. As previously mentioned, humans will almost always choose the option that's easiest and requires the least amount of effort. So in the heat of the moment, when forced to choose between a good habit and a bad habit, we should prepare buffers to make it easier for us to pick the good habit and not the bad one. If you want to stop yourself from gambling, ask to be put on the ban list at casinos and online gambling sites. If you want to stop using social media, have someone change the password on your account for you. If you want to get into an activity, sign up for a class that's non-refundable and hard to get out of. By using a commitment device, we're able to control our future selves with decisions made by our present selves. We ensure good habits and restrict bad habits before they even happen. We're much more likely to repeat habits that we find enjoyable. It feels really great to scroll through social media, so therefore there's probably little resistance to start. Unfortunately, we live in a world where most important things have delayed gratification. Saving your money today doesn't feel super satisfying, but it will years from now. Finishing a paper that's due in a month doesn't feel super satisfying now, but it will in a month from now when you don't have to pull an all-nighter to finish it. The majority of things that'll get you ahead in life don't feel super great in the moment, so most of us slip back into our old routine. We do the things that halt our progress just for a bit of immediate gratification, even though the rewards of delayed gratification are so much greater down the road. If we want to stick to our good habits, we have to understand this truth. We have to make our habits immediately satisfying, while still including the long-term rewards. Clear shares a story of a young couple who used money as a reward for eating out less. Every time they cooked at home, instead of eating out, they put the money they would have spent toward a trip to Europe. This worked because they felt an immediate reward for their actions, and it was satisfying by building up to something they look forward to. Although this strategy works great, we have to be careful that our rewards don't conflict with our long-term goal. For example, it wouldn't be a great idea to reward yourself with a donut for working out. Instead, you could reward yourself with money towards a new piece of equipment, or something else that could assist you in your habit. A reward isn't the only way to make a habit satisfying. Sometimes just seeing your progress is enough. To do this, Clear suggests that we use a habit tracker. Take a piece of paper and write down your desired habits on the left. Every day you complete that habit, draw a little X to the right of it. Once you do this for a while, you'll start to build up a small chain of X's. Your only job now is to not break the chain. This is effective because it manifests our habit into something physical, so we can no longer lie to ourselves. It's right there on the page. We can see our progress or lack of progress right in front of us. Our good habits are now slightly more satisfying, but unfortunately, so are our bad habits. So how do we make our bad habits unsatisfying? The key comes from what gym rats have been using for years: using an accountability partner. We deeply care about what others think of us. We live through the lens of other people, wanting them to view us in the best light possible. And that's exactly why an accountability partner works so well. By using an accountability partner, the social implications of skipping our habits become very unsatisfying. What will they think of me if I don't stick to my habits? Will they think less of me? Will they think I'm lazy, unmotivated, or not committed? We usually can't bear the thought of that, so we go through with our habit. On the flip side, sticking to our habit becomes very satisfying. Most of us want others to view us as someone who's motivated, outgoing, and disciplined, and sticking to our habits is one way to show that. The ideas expressed in this video were from Atomic Habits by James Clear. I hope you learned a little bit more about what it takes to build good habits and break bad ones using the 4 laws of behavior. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. The link to the author's website and best-selling book are in the description of this video if any of you are interested. I would definitely recommend. Anyways, that's all for me for today. I will see you guys in the next video, coming very, very soon.